Senior Director of Humanitarian Operations with Save the Children. Gary, thanks for being on the program.
Thanks for having me.
So what are you hearing from your team on the ground? What is the situation right now? Is aid actually getting to the people who need it the most?
Aid is starting to get to the people who were most injured and most affected. And as you mentioned, we have hundreds of thousands of people who are displaced. Their homes were destroyed. And even if their homes weren't destroyed, people are fearful of sleeping inside for the fear of the aftershocks. This is a serious situation. Finding homes for people who are displaced, temporary tents, they are starting to arrive. More will arrive over the next few days. The big challenge will be the water and sanitation needs, fresh water, the immediate health care, the completion of the search and rescue, and finding out what's happened to the people in the Middle Hills, in the distant communities, which are scattered throughout Nepal, most of which you have to walk to.
So where do you even begin this process? You've got teams on the ground. Is it the sort of thing you see people walking around sort of lost, they don't know where they're going, you reach out? I mean, where do you begin this process to help the people?
Okay, Save the Children has been in Nepal for 40 years. So right now, we have 500 staff, some of whom have been affected by the earthquake. Many are coming back to work. We were also bringing in staff from all over the world, including a strong team from India. So we always say hire local when necessary, when available and able, and bring in the surge capacity which we have. So you start with the people who've been most affected on the health and water needs. You reach out to your partners, get assessments when communications exist of what's going on. And you also get the supply chain started so you can start doing the distribution. We're concerned about the present. We're also concerned that the monsoon rains start in 6 weeks. So what is considered a temporary shelter, tarp, and a tent pole may be good for the next 5 or 6 weeks, but 6 weeks down the line, where is the space? How do we clear the rubble? How do you keep people from going back into homes that were damaged? What do we do about the children who may have been separated from their families?
You lived in Kathmandu for quite some time. What is your reaction when you see these devastating images?
I think any person I've lived in Nepal 8 years of my life, 7 years with Save the Children. I'm deeply saddened. I know the strength of the Nepali people, and I did know, of course, Kathmandu lies in an earthquake zone. So on one hand, I definitely feel the sadness, but I feel a real urge to do everything possible to bring attention to the issues in Nepal, support our staff there, speak about the issues, tell people what are the challenges, and get as much support as we can. There's a lot of empathy about Nepal, opportunities to speak on your show, can communicate. The images are so important. We didn't have this many years ago, but we also didn't have an earthquake. Another concern is Nepal lost a lot of its cultural heritage. The temples, the beauty of Kathmandu and Pat, these were not temples that people visited once in a while. This was part of their daily life. So there's also a loss of that that's important to the Nepalese. We provide protection. We have what we call child-friendly spaces so children can be children. But most importantly, we get health care out where it's needed. And we are reaching out to the distant areas to get the information and supplies that we need distributed.
Gary,